Hey everybody, so I started this little commercial real estate reality series by accident, kind of as a joke. While I was at this Avenue C 12th Street location, I figured, I'm here, let's just record it, what the hell. And a lot of you seem to be really entertained with the way that Paul was just ripping into people that didn't know anything about the space. It seemed like they were hiding flood damage. They had put a wall in front of a light fixture. The light fixture had a bulb in it that was actually on, even though they put it behind a wall. There was a lot of weird stuff going on there, and many people found this entertaining, and they were also curious, and they wanted to go along on the journey. So I thought that I would record many of these spaces, and I did. Now, a lot of the people that I met were less than knowledgeable and considerably less than honest and forthright when it came to things like square footage, pricing, condition, all different types of things. Whether we're talking about the broker that lied to the managing agent and told them that I only had 20 to 30 customers a day when I actually told her I have 50 to 200, which if I had signed the lease would have probably gotten me kicked out of the building and my deposit gone. Or we're talking about people that just lied about the size of the space, or people who were saying, you're never going to find a better space. You're never going to do better. You're not going to do better. You got to take this. This is amazing. This is great for you. There's an obvious contrast between those individuals and Alan. And many of you noticed that in the earlier videos, especially the 30th Street 6th Avenue one where I met Alan, you were able to instantly recognize that there was a difference between how he conducted himself and how the rest of the brokers that I saw conducted themselves. So I had planned to surprise Alan once we finished this deal by telling him that not only is it you're getting a positive review from me, but about 980,000 people also get to witness what New York commercial real estate brokers and agents are like, and what type of contrast that is to the professional, polite, humble, and just well-meaning way that you carry yourself. Now, the other day I had mentioned that he had sent me a text message saying, just like most people in the service industry, if once this is done, I'd appreciate it if you could give me a 30-second testimonial or so on your experience. And it was killing me as I mentioned it, because he had no idea that these videos have 200, 300, 400,000 views on them, and that every single day hundreds of thousands of people are watching, and they're all saying the same thing. We would like to see you do an interview with Alan. Will you sit down with Alan? We want to meet Alan. And he had absolutely no idea that it wasn't just one testimonial he's getting, but hundreds of thousands of people are bearing witness to the fact that in an industry where it's expected that you act in a kind of below border way, that he always presented himself as a consummate professional. I was planning this as a surprise. However, I found out earlier today that from a phone call that I had received from another Alan asking if I was interested in commercial space, that this was not going to be a surprise. Apparently, dozens upon hundreds of people were combing through the social media profiles, YouTube profiles, websites of every single person with the first name Alan that works in New York City in commercial real estate, trying to figure out which one was my Alan. And at some point, they wound up on his YouTube channel. I'll let him explain himself.
I was really surprised this morning when I saw that hundreds of people were following my relatively inactive YouTube account. I couldn't explain this, and finally I realized that the Rossman Group had been doing something of a reality show, a small documentary of their search for a new space for their data recovery and device repair business. I had no idea. I was really surprised, and the YouTube videos that Lewis had done are absolutely fascinating because they're really from the tenant perspective, and they discuss very, very tangible issues for tenants in their search for space in New York.
So the cat's kind of out of the bag. That's no longer a surprise. However, one of the things that I'm excited about is him putting together a YouTube channel where he goes over real estate from his point of view. One of the things that can bother me about the world is how the people that are less honest often get ahead a little faster than the people who are honest. And that one of the things I've said is that I think that life doesn't start fair, but it often ends fair. But it takes a really long time to get to the part where the fairness starts to balance itself out. And I like being a part of that fairness being reached a little bit quicker if I think it's deserved. And when I see that there are companies with 200 or 300 or 400 employees that all act in these unprofessional and dishonest manner, and then I see Alan, who acts the way he does, it makes me wonder, why is it that every other company isn't like this? Why is it that you're not the number one result on Google or Yelp for the services you offer? Why are there not 500 people working for you, selling all the spaces in New York City the way that you sell spaces? And I would like to see that happen. I'd like to see that kind of slope upwards. And also, one of the reasons that I'm really excited for Alan, if he decides to go ahead and start posting regularly, is one of the things I remember mentioning in an old video is how people just kind of seem to accept the status quo the way it is. You know, like somebody joked in the last video, paraphrasing Karen the broker, it's not a lie, it's commercial real estate. And what that statement says to me is, well, everybody else is doing it. So even if it's kind of wrong, I'm just going to do what everybody else is doing. And if everybody else is doing it, then who cares if it's a problem? I don't like that thinking. And the reason I don't like that, well, it's not going to change. One person's not going to change anything, is because that type of mentality means that nothing will ever change. Here's one of the things that I remember saying in a video about the part supply industry and also PayPal that I think applies here.
And I don't want to hear any of that sorry horse crap about how I'm just one person, I'm just one company, I'm just one supplier, I'm just one franchise, I can't make change. I don't want to hear any of that sorry horse crap. When you think that it's not going to change unless there's a large group of people, well, guess what large groups of people are? Large groups of people are individuals that all decide that they are going to get together to create change. However, if none of the individuals think that they can create change because every one of the individuals is waiting for the group, then there is no group. The group starts with you.
Now, I've also heard from other people who've said, Lewis, I agree with you. I don't like what PayPal is doing. I think this is terrible, but it doesn't make sense for me to stop using PayPal. We need a lot of people to make change, and one person is not going to make change. If I stop using PayPal for my own purchases, or I stop using PayPal to accept payments at my business, that's not really going to matter because I'm just one person and you need a lot of people to create change. And I think that this is a very defeatist bullshit attitude. It bothers me when people say, I cannot have principles until there's a mass of people who've done it first because I'm just one person. I'm not going to have much of an effect. What do you think a mass of people is? It's not a mass of 1 million. It's one person times 1 million. One person making the decision that they're not going to allow a merchant services provider to spit in their mouth, Eric Schneiderman style, and fuck them in the ass when it comes to taking a refund. One person needs to make that decision 1 million times over in order for you to have a mass. However, if every single one of the people in that group of 1 million decides, well, I'm not going to do it until there's a mass of people already doing it, you never get the mass. The mass starts with you. So this is up to you.
I still stand by everything I said there today. And in my industry, a lot of people said that it's not economically viable to do board repair in the United States. You have to outsource it to another company in China, or it'll be done badly here. Or people just said, you know, you're never going to get people to think that what the Apple Store is telling them is BS. Or your independent repair is never going to be seen as anywhere near as credible as the Apple authorized providers or the first-party repair people. Here we are 10 years later, and on average, people trust us more than they trust them. And there are people across the United States doing excellent quality component level repair from economically viable businesses. And when it comes to real estate, I do believe that people like Alan, if they start to gain a following and people start utilizing the people who are honest and recommending the services of people who are honest over the individuals who are dishonest, and one person decides, you know what, I'm not going to do business this way everybody else does business. I don't care what they're doing. I can do better. If people like Alan get noticed, if people like Alan get more business, I do think that other industries can change in the same way that we were able to make an effect on this existing industry. And that's why I'm so excited and happy that he's starting a channel and he's putting effort into it, because I would absolutely love for the market of New York City commercial real estate to be run in a manner that is consistent with the principles that he showed in his interactions with me, rather than the way that it's been run by everybody else that I've put on camera, whether they're hiding flood damage in spaces, whether they're lying to the agents, lying to me about square footage, money, amount of customers, or any other number of manners that would have potentially screwed me. People like Alan, in my opinion, earn the recognition that they get, because he had no idea from the very beginning that all this stuff was going on camera into something, and he treated me better than most others would, if they knew that they were getting PR from it. And that means a lot. How people treat you when they don't have to treat you well, and how people act when they think nobody is watching. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something.